Hey, welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking about something absolutely universal, something that hits every single one of us right in the gut: rejection. Whether you've been told no by your crush, passed over for that dream job, or even just had a pitch turned down, rejection just stings. It leaves you feeling hurt, totally deflated, and sometimes, honestly, a little angry. It's a completely natural human response. But here's the thing. How we deal with that sting is what separates those who bounce back stronger from those who let it sideline them. We're going to break down exactly what rejection does to us, why it affects some people more than others, and most importantly, how we can rewire our brains to handle it and build real, unbreakable resilience. Now, for the sake of simplicity, we'll often be talking about rejection in a romantic context, like asking someone out. But I need you to know that everything we cover applies to any area of your life. Friendships, college applications, business deals, or even family matters. This is a foundational life skill. So, let's dive right in. Have you ever noticed that some people seem to be just fine after a setback, while others take it incredibly personally and struggle to move on for weeks? There's a term for this, and it's a key technical term we need to understand: rejection sensitivity. Rejection sensitivity is essentially the tendency to anxiously expect, readily perceive, and intensely react to rejection. Think about it. You're about to approach your crush. Your heart is pounding, your palms are sweaty, and your voice is shaking. You're hyper-analyzing every single twitch or hesitation they have, taking any little reaction as a definitive sign that they are about to reject you. That intense feeling, that fear and the resulting emotional flare-up, is rejection sensitivity in action. It makes you feel these overwhelming emotions anytime someone doesn't seem to reciprocate the way you desperately want them to. And guess what? There's a solid scientific reason for this intense reaction. Research suggests that when you experience rejection, the same areas of your brain that light up when you feel physical pain are also active. That's right, rejection literally hurts. This is especially true for people who have higher rejection sensitivity. While there is nothing wrong with feeling this way, it's just how your brain is wired. It can be absolutely exhausting. Every time you face a perceived rejection, it can feel like it's confirming every little insecurity, anxiety, or fear you've ever had about yourself. And naturally, your immediate instinct is to avoid or minimize that pain. But think about the cost of avoiding rejection completely. To truly avoid it, you'd have to live a ridiculously small life, maybe literally under a rock. It means not putting yourself out there, not taking risks, and missing out on all the incredible experiences and opportunities that life is waiting to give you. The amazing experiences are on the other side of the risk of rejection. So, how do we get to experience everything life has to offer while still facing rejection head-on? The first and most important realization is this: not everyone or everything is meant for you in life, and that is okay. In fact, it's better to find that out sooner rather than later. Seriously, the longer you prolong an inevitable rejection, the longer you stall, waffle, and dance around the issue, the more it's going to hurt when it finally happens, and the more it will feel like a massive waste of your precious time and energy. On the flip side, finding out what is meant for you is one of the most rewarding experiences possible. And here's the kicker: the longer you hide from rejection, the longer you postpone finding that perfect fit, whether that's a perfect partner, a perfect career, or a perfect circle of friends. So, here is a massive tip to take away right now. Get direct about how you approach the things you want. By being totally open, honest, and not holding back, you give yourself the very best chance to get what you want, quickly. Imagine this all too common scenario. You have a crush, but you choose not to tell them how you feel or ask them out. Instead, you spend weeks or even months wondering, worrying, and obsessing over how they might feel. You waste an incredible amount of time and mental energy living in that state of uncertainty. Because you weren't direct or open with them, they're probably just as uncertain as you are about the situation. And ironically, this often results in them rejecting you anyway, because the relationship never got off the ground. Now, you might be thinking, Wait, if I'm more direct about my feelings for someone, won't that mean I'm more likely to get rejected sooner and more often? Yes, that's exactly why getting comfortable with rejection is the smart play. Experiencing rejection is incredibly common, especially when you start venturing outside your comfort zone and attempting new things. It's not a sign of failure. It's an absolutely essential part of your growth and learning journey. So, we established that being direct is essential, and with directness comes the inevitable, more frequent rejections. But here's the game changer. We need to stop viewing rejection as a definitive judgment on our worth. That's where people usually get stuck. Think of it this way. When you ask someone out and they say no, what are they actually saying no to? They are not saying no to your entire existence, your value as a human being, or your potential for a great future. They are saying no to a specific request at a specific time. That's it. It's a rejection of the proposal, not a rejection of you. This ties directly into another vital technical concept in self-improvement, the niche. Everyone, and I mean everyone, fits into a niche. If you're a YouTube creator, you know this well. You can't please all 8 billion people on the planet. You have to find your specific audience, your niche, who connects with your style, your topic, and your energy. The same rule applies to people and relationships. You have to find the specific audience, the person, who connects with your specific style, your energy, and your values. This is why rejection is actually a filter. When someone rejects you, they are simply filtering themselves out of your life because they are not the right fit for your niche. The moment you realize this, rejection transforms from a devastating personal attack into valuable feedback about compatibility. For example, maybe the person you asked out is a night owl and you're an early bird. You prioritize saving money, and they prioritize luxury travel. You love deep, philosophical conversations, and they prefer lighthearted comedy. These aren't flaws, they are simply niche differences. When they reject you, it's not a critique. It's just a data point confirming you have different niches. The mistake most people make is trying to contort themselves to fit into a niche they don't belong in. They try to change their personality, their interests, or their values just to avoid a specific rejection or to get a specific person to say yes. This is a recipe for disaster. Why? Because even if you manage to avoid that initial rejection, you end up in a relationship or situation where you can't truly be yourself. You're constantly walking on eggshells, pretending to be someone you're not. That's a different kind of pain, a slower, more miserable kind. The goal should never be to avoid rejection at all costs. The goal should be to find your niche quickly. Think of every single no you receive as moving you one step closer to the ultimate yes that is genuinely meant for you. So, how do we actively build up our resilience to rejection? We need to practice what's called exposure therapy. Exposure therapy is a clinical term, but we're going to apply the underlying concept to social situations. The basic idea is simple. The more you expose yourself to a fear in a controlled, safe way, the less power that fear has over you. The fear of rejection is no different. You need to actively and deliberately seek out mild rejections. I know, that sounds counterintuitive, maybe even crazy, but stick with me. This is how you desensitize your brain to the sting. Start small. This isn't about asking someone to marry you on the first try. It's about practicing small, low-stakes rejections. For example, try this next time you're at a coffee shop. Ask for a discount, or ask the barista to add something clearly ridiculous to your order, like asking for a tiny toy figurine on top of your latte. When they say no, which they almost certainly will, you'll notice two things. First, their no will be completely neutral. They probably won't even bat an eye. Second, you will feel a tiny, manageable ping of rejection. But because the stakes are so low, you'll immediately realize it's not that bad. The point of this kind of exposure therapy is to create a pattern in your brain that says, I asked for something, they said no, and the world did not end. I survived, and I'm fine. Do this a dozen times, and that crushing fear of rejection starts to dissipate. You have to turn seeking rejection into a game. The more no's you rack up, the more you are practicing and building that vital emotional muscle. You are teaching your brain that rejection is not a catastrophe. It's a standard, often boring, part of everyday interaction. And once you normalize the experience, you're free to start putting yourself out there for the bigger, more meaningful things in life. We've covered rejection sensitivity and using the niche concept as a filter. Now, let's wrap this up with the two most important long-term strategies for building an unshakable inner core that genuinely doesn't fear the no. The first shift is to completely separate the action from the outcome. We need to move away from an outcome-dependent mindset and adopt an action-oriented mindset. What does that mean? Most people tie their self-worth and their success directly to the outcome. If I ask them out and they say yes, I'm successful and worthy. If they say no, I'm a failure. This is the classic outcome-dependent mindset. The problem is that the outcome is often outside of your control. You cannot control what someone else thinks, feels, or decides. When you hinge your entire emotional state on something you can't control, you're setting yourself up for guaranteed pain and anxiety. The smarter approach is the action-oriented mindset. Here, you define success not by the result, but by the action you took. Success is, I overcame my fear and spoke to that person. Success is, I sent that job application. Success is, I made that sales pitch. The outcome, the yes or the no, is now just information, not a judgment. The moment you shift your focus from the outcome to the action, you become a lot more powerful. You control your actions 100%. Did you do the thing you were afraid to do? Yes? Then you were successful, regardless of the response. This leads to the second critical mindset shift. Adopt the mindset of abundance, not scarcity. A scarcity mindset tells you there is only one perfect person, one dream job, or one single opportunity. This makes rejection feel like a catastrophic one-time loss because you think, I'll never get another chance like this. This mindset naturally fuels intense rejection sensitivity because the stakes feel impossibly high. An abundance mindset, however, tells you that there are literally billions of people and millions of opportunities out there. If one door closes, 3 more are opening. When you are operating from this mindset, rejection simply means, that one wasn't for me. Let's go find the next, potentially better fit. Rejection becomes a casual redirection rather than a painful final verdict. When you combine an action-oriented mindset with an abundance mindset, the fear of rejection almost entirely disappears. You are focused on taking actions, which you control, and you understand that every interaction is just moving you closer to your true niche, which is abundant. Finally, let's talk about a powerful technique you can use after a rejection: reappraisal. When you get rejected, your brain floods with negative emotion. Instead of dwelling in that negative loop, replaying the moment and criticizing yourself, you need to actively reappraise the situation. You need to reframe the event in a way that minimizes its emotional impact and maximizes the learning. Try asking yourself these 3 questions immediately after a setback. What did I learn about this specific niche? E.g., I learned that people in this industry prefer a shorter pitch, or I learned that this person prioritizes stability over spontaneity. This turns the rejection into valuable market research. What did I learn about my approach? E.g., I waited too long to ask, or my resume was too generic. This isolates a variable that you can adjust for next time. How is this actually a good thing? This is the hardest one, but the most important. Maybe the rejection saved you months of effort in a dead-end relationship. Maybe the job rejection forced you to apply to an even better company. Find the silver lining. By focusing on the learning and the potential positive outcome, you stop the painful emotional spike and replace it with a productive, future-oriented thought process. You are literally rewiring your brain's response to rejection from pain to progress. So, the takeaway is clear. Rejection is not a sign that you are inadequate. It's simply a sign that the combination of you and that specific thing was not a match for your niche. Start seeking out small rejections through exposure therapy. Shift to an action-oriented, abundance mindset, and use reappraisal to turn every no into a step toward a much bigger, more meaningful yes. That's all for today. Go out there and take some risks.